Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lacey, about your info, your comments. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Üçüncü konuşmacımız yine Lancaster Üniversitesi'nden Dr. Lacey ile birlikte doktora çalışmaları yapan Muhammed Vakkas Hayder. Kendisi eski bir hava kuvvetleri personeli. Pakistan Hava Kuvvetleri'nde görev yapmış. Kendisi doktora çalışmalarına devam ediyor. Özellikle hava sahasının yönetimi ve savunma yönetimi konularında ilgi alanı, o konularda çalışmaları var. Kendisi bize şimdi muharebe sahasından alınan dersler, özellikle Karabağ Savaşı, Ukrayna Savaşı'ndan alınan derslerin savaş doktrinlerine, stratejilerine nasıl yansıtıldığından bahsedecek. Ayrıca insansız hava araçlarındaki gelişmeler pilotluğun önüne geçebilir mi? Bir gün pilotluğu gereksiz hale getirebilir mi konusunda da kendisinden bilgi alabilirsek memnun olurum. Buyurun, söz sizin Sayın Hayder.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues, and esteemed officials, marhaba, good afternoon. Mark Lacey argues in his book, Theorizing Future Conflict, War Out to 2049. The future would most likely be a time of multiplication. The multiplication of tactics, terrains, technologies, and actors. Multiplication of when wars break out, there will likely be a messy mix of different stages or times of war, of the old and the new, the tried and tested mixed with experimental. The challenges will be how transgressively creative the tactics are, how far they produce dangerous new surprises and possibilities in warfare. For centuries, the conduct of war. Can you display the slides? For centuries, the conduct of war has been defined by innovation, whether it was the phalanx of ancient Greek, the cavalry of medieval Europe, or the tanks in the trenches of 20th century. Each technology's leap has not only reshaped how wars were fought, but also rewrote the doctrines, strategies, and even the geopolitics of the time. Now imagine a battlefield where human decisions are not the fastest and the most accurate. Picture a conflict where skies are filled with swarms of drones and hacking attacks have been pointing at the communication grids and communication systems. Visualize soldiers enhanced with wearable technologies, exoskeletons, and augmented reality displays, maneuvering seamlessly in environments where data, not just bullets, dictate survival. Now step back and realize this is not distant future. This is the reality of Russia-Ukraine war. A conflict that has become the most technologically advanced battlefield in the world. It is a proving ground where innovation collides with destruction, redefining how wars are fought and won. This war has become a live laboratory for testing disruptive technologies, reshaping military doctrines, and influencing future global strategies. In this war, disruptive technologies have not only changed tactics, but also raised profound questions about ethics of war. Our discussion will mainly focus on these areas. We'll have a background how the warfare is changing in the 21st century. Then we'll see the dimension of disruptive technologies and how they reshape the future's conflicts. Then we'll go through an overview of future soldiers and military technology programs and see how autonomous technologies and integrated operation concept work out in the present day. Sorry, I actually transitioned from first panel to second, so I have covered both of the things in my talk. So Human history bears witness to the fact that war and warfare remained an integral part of humans' interaction at various levels of society. Land and sea were the primary domains for the war fighting, where we gained a lot of experience over the battles we fought and everything. But with the start of the 20th century, we saw the air power coming into play. And owing to marvelous developments in the field of technology, the air power really became a game changer in various conflicts over the past few decades, and especially we have seen it has recently got reshaped in terms of the Karabakh War. And then we are stepping into space and cyber, although they are not new, but they are evolving now at a very rapid pace. And we are getting more dependencies on these two domains, which are technologically really very extensive in comparison to all three other domains. So, how the warfare is changing in the 21st century? The global security media is confronted with challenges which are coming from both the nation-state, the state actors, and the non-state actors. And they are adopting the means of each other to fight back with each other. In this regard, the David Kilcullen, in his book, The Dragons and the Snake, he argues that while the dragons, the state actors, they were learning from snakes, the non-state actors, over the past few decades. At the same time, the snakes, the non-state actors, they were adopting the dragons' methods of war to fight back. So what that has created, that has basically combined the state and non-state threats in novel combinations, which we have not seen in the past. So that's how the warfare is like. We are seeing new types of warfare and tactics coming into play, which we never thought of. That's complicating the security media at international level. Then again, I have something from Mark Gigliotti. He also argues that the unprecedented interconnectivity of the modern world enables new methods of warfare through cyber, space, and the electromagnetic spectrum. So before I step further, I'll just go through this picture by Ben Webelson, is working for the US Space Command. He categorizes the war into these three three categories. So he says the first series of war was the pre-modern or pre-scientific wars, which mainly relied on the supernatural rationalization on conflicts based on mythologies, ideologies, belief, and cultural systems. Then from there, we shifted on to the modern wars, which we see nowadays. These wars where humans make decisions through various tools. They have the human-centric rationalization for the war, which is the states, the economies, the security, and armies, technologies. They are all into this domain. The wars we see now, he argues that they are still the modern wars. But what the intersection of the space, artificial intelligence, cyber, and special operation forces, they are transforming the war into a phantasmal war, which is going to technologically exceed the species, the humans. It is going to be a war where advanced war tools that redesign their own ends beyond human control and conceptualization. Humans might not be controlling the decision loops, they might be going out of the loop, which is one of the dangers of the AI, because earlier the humans are either inside loop, over the loop, but there's the chances of going outside the loop. So based on this preamble, we'll move on to the disruptive technologies that have been employed into Russia-Ukraine war. We'll just see how these technology has been employed, and from being a practitioner and academic point of view, what impact they are having on the changing strategies and changing dimension of war. So we have seen the Ukraine conflict, a lot of use of drones made by Turkey. Bayraktar TB2 has played a pivotal role, especially during the earlier days of the war, and then Russia have to redeploy their air defenses to basically detect that drone and everything. So that kind of things are basically changing the ways of fighting wars, and that came long way from the Karabakh war. There are a lot of use of loitering munition and these things. Russia also deployed the loitering munitions. What loitering munition do? They are like, they keep loitering in the air and they wait for the right moment and then they attack. So that kind of things are happening. So these aligned with the latest trends in terms of autonomous weaponry. So I would say that what is the impact? So these systems level the playing field by enabling smaller nations to counter larger adversaries effectively, because these technologies are cheap, and like most of the nations are venturing into these technologies, so they are really becoming what we omnipresent with the countries, and they are easily procurable. So the next thing that comes, the use of AI-assisted targeted system. They leverage Ukraine for analyzing battlefield data, for making quick decisions, getting into the ODA loop of enemy where you observe, orientate, decide, and act before the enemy acts. So these type of systems, the reconnaissance photos and everything provided them with the precise information for targeting Russian facilities. Then the use of Clearview AI's facial recognition tool is another big thing which happened for recognizing the soldiers and prisoners of war. What these technologies are doing, these AI-driven identification, they are blurring the lines between combat and personal security. So we can sum up that while AI enhances operational efficiency, it does enhance it, reducing the time between intelligence collection and tactical deployment. But looks like facial recognition software tools like these, they exemplify the ethical and operational dualities of modern AI applications, which we need to take into consideration once we are moving forward into stepping into these 21st century warfare domains. Then the next thing, that the use of combat robots, that is also widespreading. Russia has been using the Uran 9 robot, although it is facing some kind of challenges in its initial deployment, but these kind of technologies, they are basically reducing the human effort and still maintaining the effectivity in the battleground. So what we see, the robotics promise to reduce human casualties while maintaining the battlefield effectiveness at the same level. Although these technologies will still have long way to go through, but they will a lot of revolution in these domains. Then, as my colleague mentioned earlier, the blockchain for financial resilience also played an important role. The currency donations through bitcoins and that kind of things, they enabled Ukraine to get international donations and everything to maintain pace with the Russian attacks. What these blockchain financial resilience, these technologies do, these decentralized financial systems provide an alternative to traditional banking, especially when countries are under economic sanctions. So they kind of help both countries, like they even helped Russia because they cannot do many things in the normal banking system. So they employ these type of technologies to stay abreast with the developing situation. Then both Russia and Ukraine have been deploying these quantum resistant technologies. The quantum resistance communication helped them to safeguard their sensitive information in this time of espionage, and where a lot of efforts have been made to dig out the information. So these technologies really help out a lot in this war, and they played a big role. So these nascent technologies could redefine secure communications, reducing vulnerabilities to espionage. Again, the precision-guided weaponry is playing a really important role in terms of HIMARS and smart munition. US supplied the high-mobility artillery rocket systems, which were really helpful for attacking the Russian depots and armament, that kind of things. Then the recent authorization, which has been granted 2 weeks ago about the use of MGM-140, that's really proved an important point. And we have, last 2 weeks, we have seen the use of Storm Shadow by Ukraine. These type of things are really playing important role. Then the anti-tank missiles, they give infantry to counter that kind of armor and those things. And recently we have seen the ballistic missile with the speed of Mach 10 plus in the hypersonic regime, which just got fired 4 days ago. That has grabbed really wide attention across the world. So what these technologies do, the ability to deliver pinpoint strike with minimum collateral damage, revolutionized long-range artillery engagements. Then the space-based technologies have recently got a huge momentum over this conflict. We have seen the Elon's Starlink, once the Ukraine communication went out, Ukraine used this, but at the same time there were reports of using the use of the same technology by Russia as well. So that's kind of what we see, how to maintain balance once there are organizations who are making these things, non-state actors are making these things, and then they are used by both the adversaries. So striking that balance is really important. So what these do, This underscores the role of privately owned space-based technologies in maintaining strategic communication in contested areas by multiple actors. Then cyber warfare and information operations, they also were a major part of this conflict. Sandworm group cyber attacks, they were especially very effective against the electric grid in the Ukraine, and they tried to launch these cyber attacks against critical infrastructure. What Ukraine did, they formed a IT army of Ukraine, then which targeted the Russian websites and that kind of thing. So a lot have been happening in the cyber warfare domain as well. So cyber attacks in tandem with kinetic operations demonstrate the seamless integration of digital and physical world. So what that means, that's the democratization of cyber warfare allowed a relatively smaller state to inflict substantial disruption on a much larger enemy. So that kinds of things which are enabled by basically technology. So the next is the electronic warfare. It has been there, it is there, and it is going to stay there. The GPS jamming, spoofing, that kind of things has been employed. Then the anti-drone systems. For every new offensive technology, there is a defensive technology, and the loop keeps on repeating itself. So these things have been happening. What this do, the EW capabilities highlighted the vulnerabilities of technologies reliant on electromagnetic spectrum, while countermeasures showcase the evolving arms race between offensive and defensive electronic warfare operations. Then social media really played a strategic role in this conflict. It provided open source intelligence where the people were sharing the images of the troops movements and that kind of things, or Twitter, social media, TikTok, so it really played important role. And then the mimetic warfare. They were using memes to demoralize people, to have a psychological impact, that kind of different. We have seen a lot on the social media. So that kind of warfare has been employed in this conflict. So what this do? This publicly available data supplemented traditional espionage, providing real-time information, while the speed and reach of digital platforms amplified the psychological impact of propaganda campaigns on the adversary. So, after having an overview of the conflict, we'll see what's happening in the domain of future soldiers. It's just a brief overview. So, in terms of future soldiers, there's much focus on the wearable technologies where they are using smart helmets and augmented reality displays. What these do, these soldiers equipped with these displays, they get real-time battlefield information. They don't need to, with very less communication, they can see those things in augmented reality display, which enhances overall situational awareness of the battle, as well as they can make faster decisions. Then the programs like US Army's integrated visual augmentation systems are pivotal examples. Then we have seen the exoskeletons and enhanced mobility. Nations are investing a lot into these technologies. They are really vital, especially in the scenario of Ukraine war, where you are fighting in an urban environment. You need protection as well as mobility. So these kind of programs are getting a lot of funding, and a lot of research is happening. Then the genomic and cognitive enhancement, the few by other earlier colleagues talked as well. You're trying to play with the genetics and those kind of things, exploring biotechnology to enhance physical and cognitive abilities of humans. So this gone a long way, but in one term you are getting strength of that, but it is raising ethical and operational considerations as well for the future. Human-machine teaming, human-machine collaboration, we have seen a lot of happening in this domain, as well as advanced robotics and autonomous systems are playing integrated role together in an environment where they can augment each other. So someone raised about the logistics question earlier. So these robotic mules can be used for the logistics as well. They are also used for the reconnaissance and combat. That kind of things are happening in this domain. What they do, the future soldier is not just a combatant, but a fully integrated node in a larger operational system, where empowered by AI, technology, and network solutions. Network-centric warfare, the soldiers act as sensor, they are integrated into larger system, larger network, and what this enabling instantaneous decision-making and situational awareness across the theater. This last thing about such kind of programs are being developed, the JADC, to Joint All-Domain Command and Control by United States. What these is a warfighting capability, which to sense, make sense, and to act before your enemy acts. What you are doing, you are creating an interoperability across all the 5 domains. What you are doing, you are employing the predictive analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence for your decision making, and you are going to act at all levels before your enemy acts. So these kinds of programs they are enabled by latest technologies and artificial intelligence. So, yeah, I'll be finishing in 2 minutes, yeah. So these autonomous technologies, these systems basically, they are foundational to the future of conflict, as demonstrated in Ukraine war. The loitering munitions, combat drones, they will all reduce human casualties. The integrated operational leverage, the combat cloud, where data from all the satellites, UAVs, all the domains has been, you get a real-time sensor coverage. Then systems like Starlink show how decentralized, redundant technologies ensure operational continuity despite adversary effort to degrade your systems. Then modern warfare extends beyond land, sea, and air to include cyber and space domains. Integrated strategies ensure these domains operate synergistically. AI serves the backbone for integration, offering predictive analytics, automated decision-making, and strategic foresight. The rapid adaptation of AI-driven systems in the Ukraine conflict highlight its indispensable role. So the future of warfare lies in seamless interoperability across domains, driven by autonomous systems and backed by robust integrated data architectures. So I'll just give some food for thought, what we need to think about the future before I go. So as autonomous systems take on more decision-making roles, who is held responsible for unintended or unethical actions? The programmers, the operators, the governments, who will be responsible? How can we ensure transparency in these systems? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. Then the integration of technologies like AI, drones, and satellite systems increases battlefield efficiency, definitely. But it also creates dependencies on these systems. What happens if these systems are compromised or rendered ineffective by the adversary? Last but not the least, our traditional doctrine designed for industrial age warfare, adaptable to the demands of modern technology-driven conflicts? What should be the role of human oversight in such doctrines? To conclude, I must say, are we shaping technology to serve the principles of just and ethical warfare? Or is technology reshaping warfare into something we can no longer control? This is the critical crossroads where the global community stands today. I urge you to reflect not only on how we wield these tools, but on how they shape the human and geopolitical narratives of tomorrow conflict. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Haider. Thank you so much. Sorular varsa şimdi alabiliriz.